I call the Honourable Member Andrew Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
You're welcome.
I rise to take a call on behalf of New Zealand First in support of the National War Memorial Park Pukeahu Empowering Bill. This national park, to be here in our capital city, is a very fitting memorial and a milestone to mark the 100th anniversary of Gallipoli and of World War I. It will be a very fitting memorial park to note the 100,000 people, or soldiers, men and women, who went off to World War I, 18,000 of which died and 40,000 of which were wounded. But further than that, it will also commemorate the more than 300,000 New Zealanders who in the last century have served this country in many theatres of war, and this will be a very fitting National War Memorial. Mr. Speaker, many of our other cities in New Zealand do have significant war memorial parks. Auckland in particular has the Auckland War Memorial Domain, a very large park with the cenotaph in its centre and the War Memorial Museum in its centre, a very fitting, substantial place for commemoration and for ceremonies to do with our lost ones at war. This will be of not quite the same scale as the Auckland one, but it will still be a very significant park with views out over the Wellington Harbour. But more importantly, it will provide the necessary ambience and green belt and park-like atmosphere to link the National War Memorial, the Hall of Memories, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier and the National Carillon. At present, State Highway 1 is a very, very busy road that goes past these places of national importance, and I have attended a number of ceremonies there over the years, and it is not at all pleasant with such a large volume of traffic going by this very important national place of commemoration, that it is not in a more quiet and fitting place. This park will provide that place, and it will provide what any capital city should have, a place of substance and of note. It is very, very noteworthy that the Australian government, as part of the 100th commemorations, including a $5 million donation to the park to provide also an Australian memorial here. And again, that is wonderful that our Anzac friends are participating to commemorate this new addition to New Zealand. Likewise, of course, New Zealand in the past put up the New Zealand Anzac Memorial in Canberra, and just in the last few years also in Hyde Park in London. And so similarly, it is very, very wonderful and a great gesture of the Australian government to do likewise here in what will be our National Memorial Park. The project, Mr. Speaker, itself is $12 million for the park and the development. However, the vast bulk of the cost of $75 million is the underpass and undergrounding of State Highway 1 to go under this area of Wellington so that the park is maintained without that busy highway. It is somewhat disturbing, Mr. Speaker, that in 2007, $11 million was originally allocated for the park, and this project was underway under the former Labour government with support from New Zealand First. However, in 2009, most disappointingly, the national government axed the funding for the National Memorial Park and put the whole project on ice. Again, very disappointing to hear that that probably was perhaps attributed to differences of personal feelings towards the former Prime Minister rather than what was in the interests of the nation and the people of New Zealand. And it's a shame that petty politics became involved in what should have been a project of national significance. However, the national government has chosen to get it back on the tracks this year, and unfortunately now it's having to be done under urgency. So it probably is going to be a situation of having to be pressure cooked through to get done in time for the 2015 Anzac Day commemorations of the 100th centenary of World War I. However, I'm sure because of the goodwill on the part of all parties, and apart from the Green Party, who is not supporting, but on the part of all other parties to get this done, I'm sure it will be achieved. Likewise, the support of the Wellington City Council and New Zealand Transit Authority, Transport Authority, and all the other various agencies. It's most important that everyone does cooperate so that this can be done in a very timely manner. Mr. Speaker, this country owes a great debt to all those who died in the services of this country. This chamber commemorates many of those battles, and the names of many of those great battles and theatres of war are on the walls of this chamber. Likewise, New Zealand, moving into the next 100 years, will have a fitting National Memorial Park in Wellington when this project is completed. New Zealand First is very much in support of that and honouring all those who have made the ultimate sacrifice for this country.
I call the honourable member